OFWs contribute to the Philippine economy? Mabuhay! Welcome to our channel. The biggest contributor to the Philippines' GDP and its biggest export is its people, particularly its overseas workers. OFW remittances are bigger than the export value of any other traditional export product sectors, such as electronic products, electrical machinery, agricultural products, vehicle parts and precious metals. The cumulative OFW remittances in 2017 amounted to $31.3 billion, according to the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP, and Philippine Statistics Authority. It came from the total cash remittances of $28.1 billion and $3 billion OFWs personal remittances in cash and in kind. Overall, remittances from Filipino workers abroad accounted for 10% of the county's GDP, which stood at $313.6 billion in 2017, based on World Bank data. The World Bank also considers the cash remittances of OFWs as a key factor for the Philippines' economic resilience. Amid the recession and economic crises that haunt many countries in the past, the cash sent to the Philippines by OFWs allowed the country to withstand the crises. Remittance statistics of OFWs abroad. 69% of OFWs remit money to their relatives through banks. The rest prefer to do it through their own agencies, door-to-door delivery service or coworkers or friends vacationing in the Philippines. The Philippine Statistics Authority came up with the 2017 survey on overseas Filipinos showing the remittances of overseas Filipinos. Male Filipino overseas workers contributed more remittances from cash remitted and brought home as well as in kind. Based on the results of surveyed OFWs, their overall remittance was more than 61% of the total peso values of remittances in 2017. Each OFW remitted an average of nearly 100,000 Philippine pesos that year. The lure of foreign jobs that pay more and in foreign currencies has caused the migration of more and more Filipinos to work abroad over the years. There are currently more than 10 million Filipino migrants in different countries, one of the largest groups in the world. 2.3 million of them are OFWs or overseas Filipino workers. The remittances of these overseas workers represent a big portion of what they earn abroad. How do these remittances contribute to the Philippine economy? The Commission on Filipino Overseas, CFO, an agency tasked with the promotion of interest and welfare of migrants, explains the impact of remittances to the Philippine economy. According to CFO, the flow of the remittances from overseas workers impacts the economy as follows. 1. The earnings of Filipino migrant workers are sent to their families at home. They are remitted through the international banking system. 2. The amount sent through the international banking system is monitored by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, BSP. 3. The remittances influences the net dollar receipts of the country, raise the domestic living standards and affects the macro fundamentals of the country. The magnitude of the impact on the country's net dollar receipts. OFWs who work abroad are paid in the foreign currencies of the different countries they work in. These remittances have grown steadily every year, as more and more workers travel abroad to work. Aside from the increasing number of overseas workers, their remittances increase in part due to the better conversion rates, as a result of the slight depreciation of the US dollar against many foreign currencies. The amount of OFW cash remittances has increased steadily year after year. From $18.8 billion United States dollars in 2010, it grew to $24.7 billion in 2014 and to over $28 billion in 2017. The significance of the magnitude of these numbers can be better appreciated when we compare the remittances to the country's earnings from its export of goods and services. Remittances from OFWs have also outpaced the growth of earnings from both goods and services exports. While there has been a steady rise in the demand for Filipino labor abroad, Philippine exports are highly dependent on changing demands. As of 2017, remittances from OFWs continue to lead those from the BPO industry. The difference is getting slimmer though, as BPO continues to have healthy growth and the Philippines continues to be the top outsourcing destination in the world, after it overtook India a few years ago. According to ING Bank analysis, although both OFW remittances and BPO sectors continue to grow, earnings from the latter may surpass OFW remittances from 2018. Collectively, the remittances from OFWs contribute greatly to the country's positive foreign exchange earnings. By significantly increasing the foreign exchange earnings, the remittances contribute in strengthening the country's balance of payments position. This in turn boosts the current account surpluses and the Philippine economy. How remittances have raised domestic living standards. As remittances are received by the OFWs households, they translate into income flows, supporting their consumption and investments. For families with other sources of domestic incomes, the remittances they receive become substantial addition to their disposable income. And with more income comes increases in household consumption, which can come in many forms. Households get to spend more on their basic needs like food and clothing and in other less essential items such as leisure and even in luxuries. With their enhanced spending and consumption, families enjoy an improvement in their standard of living. Their economic position will depend on the amount of remittances they receive and on their present domestic income. The more advanced consumption allocations are for expenditures on house maintenance and improvements and family investments. In many parts of the country where there are OFW households who receive remittances, their houses can be seen changing in appearance and condition, becoming more attractive and sturdier. The positive effect of remittance inflows can be observed and felt by the entire communities where there are OFW households. The sustained income flows to these households produce brisk business activities in shopping centers across the country. Since OFWs come from the country's different sectors and regions, the improved standards of living can be seen in cities, provinces and far-flung barrios and towns. The effect on the country's macro fundamentals. As has been described earlier, the increase in remittances produces a favorable effect on the Philippines' balance of payments. The stable flow of remittances increases the country's capability to import more goods and services. The country is also put in a more comfortable position to service its external obligations and debts. With the increase of remittances and other earnings from exports in the past 17 years, the concern with balance of payments and perennial deficits has turned into a surplus situation. Helping Filipino families support education and growth, which further improves the country. Filipinos consider children's education as one of the most important needs of their family. After the household's basic needs are served, education is their next top priority. OFWs and their families see to it that the schooling of the children in the household is financed and sustained until the children's graduation in the highest level of education. They believe that it is the key to achieving a better future for the next generation. The parents and adults strive to provide the children through education what they may not have achieved themselves. They want to raise the standard of living of future generations of children in their families. It is not just the family's top concern but the government's as well. Both sectors consider it their responsibility to provide the children and the youth the vital work of providing the right kind of education and training. Education is deemed important in raising the moral, social and economic standards of individuals. Did we miss anything? Please comment below. If you like the video, please subscribe to our channel, like and share the video. Click the notification button to get notifications for future uploads. Join us on Facebook, Instagram and other social media. Links in the description box below. Salamat.